Okay, well, let's do the same thing. We'll introduce yourself one at a time, and we'll start with Billy.
Billy Brill, how are you? Happy Indigenous Day. Any tribal people here? Happy Indigenous Day.
Troy.
Wiat, Troy Wyattitsta, Stokwalbu Chud, Tulal Chud Zizalalich. Hello everyone, my name is Troy Wyatt from the Snoqualmie Indian Tribe, and I'm a steward of our entertainment program. How many people in this room have a career in entertainment, right? Like pretty much all of us, right? So how many people have a gaming license in here though? Because that's what is moving the needle. When you can program based on what your players want, it's about reading the data, you know. And with our property, I've got access to at least 12 plus years of price points, sales, and player gaming metrics, which is what drives most of my decisions. I'll say that our property, we've had more sold out shows this year than we ever had. And there was a reason that happened, partially the demand, but the other part was I combed through the information that we had and I said, what shows gross 20 to 30% more than what we paid for the artist as a minimum baseline? We found quite a few actually, so we went back, rebooked all those shows. And my direct report is the CEO, and I can say that he's got my trust and I've got his, so when I present an idea, it's been completely vetted. We're aiming to make 20 or 30% on ticket sales.
That's our job, to bring in new people. Right?
I think to your point, Billy, there's two reasons you do a show. One is to acquire a new potential player or
I love
guest,
this, Troy. Go ahead.
or you're rewarding your current one. But there's a fine balance in that because I think ultimately the goal is to make money on the show.
What if the artist was the same price and you didn't know about it? Would you be upset with the agent?
I mean, it takes a lot to get me upset.
No,
Cal,
I know what you're
I like
talking.
this kid. We need new customers, you know what I'm saying? And we've got to get that next 35-year-old kid with a card.
Let's say you bring in that Silver Suns pickup and you get 1,200 new people in the room, parking's increased, the traffic's increased, your players will actively avoid the show that day if they're not interested in it. So you have this reverse effect to where it's actually adverse because you can watch that player's play for that week decline because they skipped a day. The average 36-year-old doesn't have the same disposable income as a 65-year-old that's retired. They also don't have the time. It takes a lot to cultivate a new gambler.
Absolutely.
It's a psychological variable reward that compels them to gamble. The variable rewards is what creates obsession. That's not going to happen by putting on a show.
Well, how do you get that 36-year-old to sign up for the card? You know, do you put...
I'll tell you why an actual gambler will sign up for a card. If they're interested in gaming, they'll find what's close to them. Then they look at the reward system. How much am I getting per dollar spent? That's what's feeding the average gambler's mindset because they want to make that money go as far as they can so they can live in that world as long as they can. It takes a lot of time, and honestly, if a concert did that, we would do one every day of the week. If you tell me that every dollar spent on the floor that night was attributed to the concert, it's almost laughable to me because I don't see those trends. What I see happening is if you comp 200 or 300 seats or whatever your formula is, typically what happens is that gambler is spending the same money, but let's say they go Monday, Tuesday, Thursday as their regular. If you do a show on Saturday, well, they'll skip their Tuesday and Thursday and spend that money on Saturday. And if you look at these players play throughout the year, it's generally comparable to year over year or flatline. Sometimes it's even less. So that ancillary revenue point to me is invalid. And if it is valid, the big dogs, AEG, Live Nation, we should dig into their pockets and see what their merch sales, parking, camping, what those revenue streams are, and consider those as well. Why not?
That's great.
Couldn't agree with you more, but there have been shows that we've booked, we do better on the floor. That's a fact. You can't argue. The GM says, hey, book this again. We did great last year.
It comes down to strategy, right? If you're...
We're in the gaming business to make money. That's
right.
it.
So does it make sense, in your opinion, if you ran a gas station to discount the gasoline in hopes that they pay more for bubblegum?
You know, it depends on the situation. I think everyone wants to reinvent the wheel. Look at Kelly. He goes through this every day with you, Troy. It's all about what the customer wants and if you can make them happy. Right, guys? Come on, applause. That's
You know, one thing I want to say to Billy's point earlier about the casino down the road is getting X, Y, and Z. I feel like if that casino wants to pay an extra $100,000 for that artist, I'm not so much interested in that because I'm not pursuing vanity bookings. I'm looking at business, right? So Confucius says before seeking revenge, first dig 2 graves. So I look at that competitor like, if you want to build your brand around losing a ton of money on that artist, you've succeeded.